All right. So in this topic, I'm going to focus mainly about the research proposal because I want you guys to sort of give you a small background and build a small foundation so that you guys can get started. As the saying goes, it's always good to try and learn rather than just listening to me speaking something. So let me just give you a small introduction about myself. My name is Fadil. I'm a father of a small kid, a 4-year-old kid, and I'm doing my PhD in biophysics and bioimaging. So one thing I do is I study how DNA moves inside cells using very fancy microscopes and cameras, and I also use these microscopes to study a process called endocytosis, which is happening inside cells. So as you know, I started my undergraduate doing in the Faculty of Science from the University of Colombo, and then I decided to apply for a PhD in the program of biophysics because I liked the area of physics and the biology contributing together. So this is where I am now. So, and also I'm a YouTuber, as you guys know, and I have a very big audience. So hopefully this video will also be uploaded there. All right. So first of all, Sanui, I have to. This is a very cliche question, but I need to ask you: do you know why universities exist? No. Can you guess? There's two purposes. Two purposes.
Yeah, to get an unlimited education.
Correct, one of it. So there are two purposes behind why universities exist. One of them is that it is for the dissipation of knowledge. That is, you are getting knowledge, you are obtaining skills, all of that. And the other part is for the discovery of knowledge. So this is where the research component comes in actually. So it is essential for an undergraduate to go through this training process of learning new things and also applying it to discover new things. So this is the whole deal behind it. So so this is a so this is a research paper, and can you guess who are the authors behind this, Anavi? The author's name's over here. Do you know this person? Anyone in the audience?
Yes,
Can you tell me who this is?
yes, you are new vice chancellor.
Exactly. Sanu, you didn't know your vice chancellor? Very bad. I'm just joking. Do you
Sorry.
know who? Do you know who the other person is? So that's my father. So my father was your vice chancellor's supervisor for his MPhil, and later Professor Kolita went to Germany to do his PhD there. So this is their research paper because I believe they are in the area of plant science. This is their publication. Okay, now I'll have another question for you guys. Okay, this is a research paper. Do you know what is it called? You use it every day, Sanui. Any of the computer science people, do you know what this is? Anyone? Any answers from the chat? No? Let's see what's the chat say. Exactly. Good job, Ravindu. It's the Google search. So this is the research paper that led to the founding of Google. You can see, right? It's a large. It's talking about a web search engine, and the authors of this paper, Sergey Brin and Lawrence Page, were the founders of Google, or as now what we call Alphabet, and their supervisor or professor is a guy called Eric Schmidt. He was their supervisor. He was the professor that led this research. So yeah, so this is, I'm just giving you guys a picture on how research can have an impact and what type of things people are working on. And I'm not asking you guys to do this like cutting edge work, but I'm just giving you the picture of where research how it sort of changes the world and how it takes things forward. So let me first highlight the benefits of doing research, because I think it's important before you get started on this. One thing is that it's an opportunity for you to learn a new skill. For example, if you say you want to, apply for jobs and you're updating your resume, right? Sometimes it's very cool to sort of put the things you did for your research as part of your resume. You learned a new programming language. You applied these methods. You did these type of findings. So it's kind of nice to have it on your resume. And you develop the ability to problem solve, because how a researcher solves a problem versus how an undergraduate answering a question paper, it's completely different. And also you get to communicate your ideas in oral and written, which means that you get to, it's especially in the English language, if you can master the ability to communicate your ideas well, that's actually a very big benefit for you in the future. So I'm not just talking about research only, right? If you want to go to the industry, these are some valuable tools that you will get out of a research. So here are the expectations from your university. So one thing is, can you find a problem? So I guess this is where the research topic comes into place. Can you understand the problem? That is where, like, understanding the problem means, okay, what is the basis, what is the foundation of this, and how can we give a solution to this from our understanding. And also, can you think of solutions backed by literature, data, and arguments? That is, for example, then you're doing your literature review, you're looking at what other people have done, and can you think of solutions for that? And the solutions you present need to be sort of backed by good data and arguments. නිකන් අර කියන පළියට අපිට පිළිගන්න බෑ, right? Especially if you're doing science, you have to have some good arguments and supporting data. So let me first talk about the student versus research mindset, because I think it's important for you to know the difference. මොකද ගොඩක් කට්ටිය අර රිසර්ච් කරනවා කියලා හිතාන් ඉන්නේ අර අන්ඩර්ග්‍රැජුවේට් එකට කරපු විදියම. ඒ කියන්නේ exams assignments කරපු විදියටම රිසර්ච් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා තමයි ගොඩක් කට්ටිය හිතාන් ඉන්නේ. So let me tell you where you are wrong. Okay, first thing is, main difference is, if you're a student, if you are doing courses, the answer is already out there, right? Google එකේ ගහුවාම answer එක එනවා, right? You know that. But for research, you need to find the answer. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් විට ඔයා තමයි Google එකට කියන්නේ මේක තමයි උත්තරේ වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා. You need to find the answer for that. And undergraduate working last minute is okay, right? Like sometimes you can submit an assignment 2 or 3 hours before the deadline, right? Everyone does that. But there's no guarantee for that for your undergraduate research, because you don't know the answer, right? There's no guarantee. For a student, they ask how accurate is your answer, because the answer already exists. But for research, they are actually evaluating how good are your methods and your arguments. Did you use the scientific method well enough to come to your conclusion? So I'll get into the details, but this is like a basics of the difference. So first of all, let me explain to you the research journey. This is you, Sanuvi. Sorry, I put a boy's picture there, but imagine this is you. So you have a question, and then you have to discuss it with your professor or supervisor, right? This is that part. This is the part where you kind of get the research question and all. And then you have to come up with a proposal. Proposal is sort of to tell your professor, okay, this is what I plan to do, right? This is what I have known. මේක තමයි මම කරන්න ඉන්නේ. And then you do some experiments, you get some data and results, or you can collect, do some surveys. That's also a part of data collection. ඊට පස්සේ you have to write your thesis, and then will be your presentation. You have to do your viva or defense, right? So this is usually the journey, and this might take 6 months, 1 year, depends on the place. Now in reality, කියන්නේ යථාර්ථය තමයි මෙහෙම නෙමෙයි ඒක ඇත්තට වෙන්නේ. Okay? So usually once you start writing the proposal, you have to do some of these things all together. Again, I mean, there will be multiple discussions. You'll still continue to discuss with your professor. Okay, what should I do? Then maybe while you're doing research, you'll have to write your thesis, and also make some presentations also. And then finally you'll come here. So it's not a straight path. සමහරට මෙහෙම වටයක් ගහලා පස්සේ තමයි අන්තිමේදී එන්නේ. So this is what research is. So I'm telling you, don't worry, මේක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. And also one thing, Sanui, like the idea you started off might change. Okay? So what I want you to give an idea is, imagine you guys are starting a company, right? දැන් අපිට මේ කම්පැනි එකක් මේ අන්තිම මොහොත වෙනකන් ඉඳලා මේ පටන් ගන්න බෑනේ. දැම්ම පටන් අරගෙන ඒක එක ප්‍රශ්න එනවනේ පටන් ගන්න යනකොට. මේක නැහැ කියනවා, අරක නැහැ කියනවා. So ඒක විසඳගෙන යනකොට සමහරට ඔය තේරුම් ගන්නවා මේ මාකට් එකේ රෙස්පොන්ස් එක සමහරට මේ අවුල් යනවා, right? ඔය හිතපු අයිඩියා එක නෙමෙයි මේ ඇත්තට මේ මාකට් එක ඉල්ලන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ you have to change your idea a little bit, and then may put some updates to it, and then you have to go ahead with it. Do you understand up to this part, Sanwe, how the research journey looks like? You can ask questions.
Yes, sir. Totally fine.
Okay. So in this talk, guys, I will most likely focus only up till the proposal part, because it's easy said than done, because this will give you the foundation to get started on your journey. Because අනිත් ඒවා කරලම තමයි තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ. Like you can only understand it through doing it. So I'm only going to limit it up till the proposal part. Okay? So let's get on to the first problem, that is the research question or the topic. Okay? So you're meeting your supervisor, and you're going to figure out, okay, මොකක්ද මාතෘකාව, මොකක්ද අපේ ප්‍රශ්න කියන එක. You can bring a topic, but you can also look at the supervisor's topic as well. So with regards to finding a topic, what I would recommend is that first look at your supervisor's previous research work. Do a Google search, or check the university website. Look at what your supervisor did previously, because what I'm saying is සමහරට ඔයගොල්ලන් ඔයාගේ ideas තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, but මම කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ supervisorට ඔයාගේ idea එකට උදව් කරන්න පුළුවන් විදිහේ research එකක් කරන්න කියලා. බලන්න මෙයා මොන වගේ background එකකින් දෙන්න කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ skills ටික පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඔයාගේ research එකට. තේරෙනවද? Because your supervisor is not an expert in everything, right? He's only an expert in a few things, like you and I. So use that expertise for your advantage. So, and look at what other research groups are doing and people before you have done, right? You can check your university research pages or other universities research pages. බලන්න. මේක මම කියන්න හේතුව ළමයි මොකද මේ දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන් ලංකාවේ ඉඳගෙන තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ දැන් සමහරට මේ ගොඩාක් වියදම් යන මේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් කරන්න බෑ. නමුත් ඔයාලට සිම්පල් ලෙවල් එකේ බේසික් රිසර්ච් එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So අර අපිට මේ Nobel Prize එක ගන්න තරම් රිසර්ච් එකක් කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ, but අපිට පුංචි අයිඩියා එකකින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. So always think in a local level, right? Use your environment and your facilities to your advantage. So always talk to your supervisor and ask මේක කරන්න පුළුවන්ද බැරිද කියන එක, right? Because first of all, you can check your lab, right? If your university has some laboratories, check what are the instruments they have. Can I make these measurements using this, right? check කරන්න පුළුවන්. So already existing techniques, you can apply it on different data sets. So that's one way to look at it, right? ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට අලුතෙන් දෙයක් හදන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. නමුත් අපි තියෙන දෙයක් පාවිච්චි කරලා වෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් විසඳන්න try කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒකත් අලුත් දෙයක්, right? ඒකත් අලුත් සොයා ගැනීමක්. So that's where the novelty comes, you know. එක පාටනේ අයින්ස්ටයින් වගේ වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මම කියන්නේ පොඩි දෙයකින් පටන් අරගෙන ටික ටික හදාගෙන යන්න. That's my main advice to you guys when it comes to finding a topic, right? And like I said, so මේක තේරුණාද සනුයි? Do you understand this part when it comes to finding a topic?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once again, I'm giving the example of making tea. يعني තේ හදනවා වගේ. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් කට්ටියක් ඉන්න පුළුවන් මේ full අර මේ කහට විතරයි, right? Full black tea. සමහර කට්ටිය පොඩ්ඩක් ඒකට කිරි දානවා. සමහර කට්ටිය ඒකට ඕන පොඩ්ඩක් පැණි දාන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර අය ඉඟුරු දානවා. නැත්නම් green tea කියලා හදනවා. I'm just saying this is in reality එක research groups කරන මේ publish කරන papers දැක්කහම ඔයාට හිතෙන්න පුළුවන් මෙයා මේ නිකම් තේකට පොඩ්ඩක් කිරි සීනි ටිකක් දානවා එහෙම තමයි කරන්න කියලා, but you know it's still a novel thing, right? So මම කියන්නේ අර එක පාට නිකන් අලුත් දෙයක් හිතනට වඩා තියෙන දෙයක් පොඩ්ඩක් modify කරලා එතනින් එහාට ගෙනියන්න බෑ. එතකොට ඔයාට තේරෙයි මේ කොයි පැත්තටද මේ ගෙනියන්න ඕනේ කියලා. So far so good, right? තේරුණානේ? like මොකද්ද වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. So now let me go to the next part, that is the proposal. So proposal will consist of two components. One is the literature review and the other thing is the experimental plan. Then මේකේ so I'll go one by one into it because these are kind of the heavy parts. So in a literature review, සාමාන්‍යයෙන් what do we do is we are asking the questions, you know, මට කලින් හිටපු කට්ටිය මොනවද කරලා තියෙන්නේ, ඒ වගේම මොනවද අහන්න ඕන ප්‍රශ්න, ඒ වගේම ඒගොල්ලන් මුහුණ දීපු ප්‍රශ්න මොනවද, right? what have other people done, what are the important questions, and what are the problems they face. This is basically how you you know, this is the purpose of the literature review. Now how do you do this is that you look at research papers. අනිත් අය කරපු දේවල් දිහා බලනවා. So this is my research paper. You can look it up. And you know, as you can see, it's actually a computer science application on microscopic data, right? අපි ඇත්තට මේක කරේ මේ කලින් අය develop කරපු මේ මොකක් හරි deep learning method එකක් අපි අපේ එකට පාවිච්චි කරා. එච්චරයි. So මම කිව්වාගේ අර තේ හදන scene එක වගේ තමයි. So it's like making tea. Other people have made black tea. We just put a little bit of sugar and milk to it and made milk tea. එච්චරයි. And also for your literature review, I would encourage you to check out these websites. One is Google Scholar and the other one is ResearchGate. මේ Google Scholar එකෙන් තමයි ඔයගලන්ගේ research papers හොයාගන්න ඕන හොයාගන්නේ. So any topic that comes to your mind, just search it and check it out. And also if you make a ResearchGate profile, you can actually search for research papers that you are interested in, and sometimes you can download the papers there from this as well. All right. So here are the parts of a research paper. That is, it has a title, abstract, introduction, results, discussion, materials and methods, acknowledgements. Now from this you can understand, right? Materials and methods කිව්වම එකෙන් අදහස් කරන්නේ how those researchers, how they did the thing. ඒ කියන්නේ මොන වගේ equipment පාවිච්චි කරලාද මේ වැඩේ කරගත්තේ කියන එක තමයි materials and methods කැලෙන් explain කරන්නේ. Results පැත්තෙන් බැලුවොත් results means what are the results, the data they got. So I'm going to show you a research paper from our group, like different pages of it, and then I will show you where are those parts. Now I'm make a zoom in karanna. You can see, right? Sanumi, what I zoomed in.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay, so here is the title and here is the abstract. and this part over here is the introduction. Hari? ඊට පස්සේ over here is the result section, and you can see මෙතන figures තියෙනවා. Figures වලට යටින් පොඩි මේ caption එකක් තියෙනවා. So remember this, okay? This is the figure, this is the caption. This is very important because I'll tell you why. And ඊට පස්සේ තව figures තියෙනවා, figure 1 2 3. I mean this is like years of work, okay? So ඔයගලන්ට මෙච්චර ගොඩක් කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මතක තියාගන්න මේකනේ අවුරුදු ගානක කරපු වැඩක්. ඊට පස්සේ අන්තිමට there's the discussion part over here, and then materials and methods. So what පේනවද දන්නේ? materials and methods වලට පාවිච්චි කරපු equations ටික මෙතන තියෙනවා. All the mathematical equations you use are over here, right? So this is how it does. They do it. And මෙතන මේ පේනවද දන්නේ? ඔක්කොම references ටික තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ so usually if you are doing science, if you are doing research, you need to show what other people have done, right? එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ publications ඔක්කොම මෙතන list out කරලා තියෙනවා. So now this is a research paper, and you will be reading a lot of research papers, and in the next slide I'll tell you how to read a research paper, right? So usually මං කිව්වා වගේ අර these are the topics, right? Title, abstract, introduction. දැන් කෙනෙක්ට හිතන්න පුළුවන් මම මේ පිළිවෙලට තමයි මේක කියවන්න ඕනේ කියලා, right? Someone can think like this is how I should read මේ පිළිවෙලට. පොතක් කියවන වගේ තමයි කියවන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතනවා ඇති. හැබැයි එහෙම කරන්න එපා. Don't read like that. Okay? So this is a pro tip. Do not read it in this order. මෙහෙම කියවන්න එපා. Why? Because there's a better way to do it. Since you're going through so many research papers, you don't have the time to go through everything. Because you're reading a research paper and deciding for yourself, should I use this or not? මේ paper එක කියවලා බලනවා මේක මම පාවිච්චි කරන්න දෙපාද? මේක මට අදාළ නැත්තම් කියවන එක තේරුමක් නැහැ. So ආගේ වෙලාව විතර ගන්න මම recommend කරන technique එක තමයි first of all read the title and abstract, okay? ඊට පස්සේ go to figures and captions. In the result section I told you, right, there are figures and captions. Captions කියන්නේ අර figure එක යට තියෙන පොඩි අකුරු ටික. අන්න ඒව ටික කියවන්න. Then go to the conclusion. So ඔයාලට පේනවද මම කොච්චර skip කරාද කියලා? මම මේ ටික කරා, මේ ටික කරා, මේ ටික කරා. So that's all. Once you realize this is a useful paper, then fine, then read the whole thing. But then use this mechanism to sort of filter out what you want and don't want. So when it comes to writing a literature review, there's an important component in other research papers which might be useful for you. Okay? That is the introduction section. So Sanvi, if you look at the introduction section of any research paper, it's basically what they're doing is they are actually telling the literature review they did. දැන් ඔයාගේ literature review එක කවදා හරි දවසක ඔයාගේ thesis එකේ introduction කෑල්ලකට දාන්න පුළුවන්. So ඒක තමයි මෙතන තියෙන්නේ. So to get a better idea of how to write a literature review, check out the introduction section of other people's research papers. That's a good place to start. මොකද ඔයාලට පේනවද දන්නේ මේ introduction එක පරිච්ඡේද මේ paragraphs කීයද? 3ක් තියෙනවා. එකයි මෙතන දෙකයි, so මෙතන එකයි. So there are 3 paragraphs usually in an introduction section. And if you go through other papers, there might be 4. So basically you can use this style for your literature review as well when you're doing it. Does that make sense, Sanvi?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay. All right. So one thing I need to mention is citations and references. So remember, research is built on what other people have done, right? So අපි අනිත් අය කරපු දේවල් පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා, ඊට පස්සේ තමයි කරන්නේ. නැත්නම් ඒක copyright scene එකක් වදින්න පුළුවන්. Because if we don't acknowledge them. So for example, මේ introduction එක තියෙනවා අර section එකමයි. and මේකට අදාළ references ටික තියෙනවා. මම එක section එකක් පෙන්නන්නම්. මෙන්න මේ first sentence එක බලන්නකෝ මෙතන මම දාලා තියෙන එක. Let me zoom in. So as you can see, the first sentence here, chromatin is highly dynamic and chromatin motions may influence most, if not all, genome functions, including transcription, replication, and repair. When the author makes this statement, he needs to back these statements by other research papers that are published. So 1 to 5 කියලා ගහලා තියෙනවා. ඒක බැලුවොත් තේරෙනවා 1 to 5 කියන්නේ references වල මෙන්න මේ හරිය. So මෙයාගේ paper එක, all of these papers were used to to sort of make this argument stand. So ඔයාලට පේනවාද ගොඩක් මේ ඒ වගේ references තියෙනවා. So this is what you call, this is a citation over here. This part is called a citation, and these are the references for that citation. Do you understand the difference, Sanui? What a citation is and what a reference is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I guess I need to ask the audience members, do you have any questions up till this point, or do you want me to continue? Sorry, my son is here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before getting started, I want you guys to download this app, Mendeley. It's a very useful app which will help you with your literature review and writing your thesis. Because, and also you need to figure out how to connect these two apps, Microsoft Word and Mendeley. Sorry, my son is picking up his toys. Okay. Anyway, so I'll use this software a lot because this is where I put all of my papers in one place and I make notes using Mendeley as well. And if you check out my YouTube channel, you will find a lot of resources on how to use Mendeley. All right. So, yeah. We're here. You can take a break if you want to because I think I covered the literature review part. Next up is the experimental plan. And if you have any questions, please ask and I can go to the next one. Let me grab some water.
Yeah, sure, sir.
I see there. Okay. So, right. So let's move on to the experimental plan. In this, so this is one of my experimental plans that I wrote for a proposal. And as you can see here, basically it's trying to address what methods should you use. For example, did you use a microscope? Did you use some sort of we have these tools, right? Did you use oscilloscopes or different electronic items also to make your measurements, or sensors? ඒ වගේ මොනවායි sensors උපකරණ පාවිච්චි කරා නම් experimental plan එක ඒක ඇතුළත් කරන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ඒකෙන් තමයි කියන්නේ කොහොමද ඔයාගේ experiments ටික conduct කරන්න කියලා. And also you have to mention where you are going to collect the data. For example, if you are looking at images, is it from a hospital? Where are you going to get it? Do you need to get approval, clearances? You have to mention those things. And this is the timeline. Make a how long it will take. So you have to kind of manage it nicely. Like I said, so within those 6 months, you have to come up with a plan. Right? So look at other research papers to figure out what type of methods they use. Okay, that's one way to do it. And create a Gantt chart. So over here, what I did was, this is a Gantt chart. So in a Gantt chart, I guess you guys would know this already. You have to list out all the possible steps and just imagine how long it takes. When I say imagine, මං කියන්නේ නිකන් හිතලා බලන්න කොච්චරක් වෙලා යයිද කියන එක. ඊට පස්සේ බෆර් එකක් හදන්න. බෆර් එකක් කියන්නේ නිකන් මේ කෙලවෙන්න පුළුවන් chance එක ගැන හිතලා ඔයාගේ imagine time එක මේකෙන් ගුණ කරන්න. For example, if your total imagine time is 10 weeks, you introduce a buffer of 1.2. Hari? Because you are trying to be practical, right? දැන් අපි හිතන විදියට නෙමෙයිනේ සමහර දේවල් වෙන්නේ, right? ටිකක් වෙලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකත් එහෙම බෆර් එකක් දාලා ඒක මේ multiply කරන්න so that you know this is the actual time it will take. And also remember, failing to plan is planning to fail. අපි දන්නවා අපි කරන plans fail වෙනවා කියලා. නමුත් අපි plan කරේ නැත්නම් අපි මෙච්චර දුර එන්නේ නැහැ. So that's the basic mantra that you need to remember. All right. So experimental plan is done. Literature review is done. Now let's go to the proposal because you are going to use these components in your proposal. So remember your proposal has this type of outline. That is, it has the title and abstract. Then there's an introduction part, which is the literature review. Remember, the literature review can one day be converted into the introduction section of your thesis. And the other part should include the methods, then the experimental plan, and then the references. So if you have this is kind of, you're ready to go with your research proposals. So make sure you get ideas from different research papers and look at their headings, their subheadings, how they used. Add captions. Make sure you add the captions to the figures you include in your research paper, in your research proposal, and cite other papers as well. So I'd recommend you check out these videos. In my channel there's a playlist called Research Advice. So check out these videos there. It'll help you get started. And if you have any doubts, you can check them there too. And also these ones, because this will sort of help you write the research proposal as well. I mean, in this talk, I covered more than what was here, so I'm going to upload this video as well. And yeah, all the very best, guys. You can ask any questions if you have.
So now it's time for our audience to engage with the questions. And please feel free to submit your questions using the chat, or you can turn on your mic and ask the questions.
Also, one thing I wanted to share with you guys is, let me pull up a research proposal I made some time back. I mean, this is not the best, but I hope this will help you get started. This is some ongoing works. I don't want to share it because I haven't published this yet. I don't want to, share this. Sorry, let me just share my screen again. So, Sanvi, you can see this research proposal, right? Yeah. As you can see, this part is the, in the title, and this is the abstract, and this is actually my introduction section. I should have made it a lot better. Mama nikan me headings ටිකක් දැම්මා. I should have stuck to a different format. And as you can see in the introduction, every time I mention something, I cite someone else's work that has been done before. Okay. And if you notice, for my references, I use Mendeley. I have integrated Mendeley into my Word document. And if you check out my videos or search on Google how to connect Mendeley with Word, you can do that. And then I have included figures along with their caption to explain what those figures mean. And different methods are there. So you make sure you put some headings also, so then it's easy to organize your proposal. And then finally you come to so this part would be the methods section. You're talking about the different methods you hope to use. Finally it's the experimental plan. And make sure each experimental plan has an aim, right? What do you intend to do out of this experiments? මොකද්ද මේ පරීක්ෂණ වලින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ? ඒ aim එක එතන mention කරන්න. So there are about 3 or 4 aims. And yeah, and finally, you mention all the references that you used for this project. So yeah, that should give you a better idea of how to write the research proposal.
Yes, sir, we have a question. What are the recommended tools for data analyzing and managing?
Recommended tools, right? I mean, even Microsoft Excel is also fine. You know, you don't have to be that sophisticated. At the same time, you can use R. R is very good, or even Python. Python also does the job. I use a lot of Python, but I would advise you to use this time to learn different softwares as much as possible, because even after you graduate, if you're applying for jobs, this will help you. That the fact that you know different tools. So R is one language, and the other one is Python.
So I have a question while we wait for the audience questions to come in.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, in your extensive research experience, could you share a particularly challenging or unexpected situation that you encountered during a research project and how you managed to overcome it?
Ah, right. I mean, there are many. For example, sometimes it takes months or even 2 or 3 months. I guess let me look back at my undergraduate research, because that's relatable to you. You know, I was new to all this programming stuff, especially on MATLAB. So it took me about a month or two to understand what this research paper is talking about, and then applying it to our data. දැන් බැලුවම හිතෙනවා මාර ලේසි දෙයක් කියලා. හැබැයි ෆස්ට් ටයිම් ඕනම දෙයක් විශේෂයෙන් රිසර්ච් පේපර් එකක් කියවනකොට අර දන්නේ නැති වචන එනවනේ. That you encounter words that you don't understand, right? And it's a never ending process of, okay, what does this word mean? And then you go to that word, and then you find out, okay, what does this mean? It's an endless cycle. So අර අන්නේ ඒක තමයි මේ, for me the troubling part is like, man, I don't understand enough. But the thing is, you will never understand everything. The only thing is just keep doing. කියන්නේ වැඩේ දැන් හිතන්න බලන්න වගේ රිසර්ච් එකට මොකක් හරි මේ දෙයක් බඩුවක් ඕඩර් කරන්න වෙලා යනවා, නැත්නම් ඩේටා ගන්න වෙලා යනවා නම් work on something else. So that's why I'm saying, of course, get this proposal done, but while you're doing research, write a bit on your thesis, because your supervisors, what they actually want is the thesis and nothing else. They only care about is the thesis and the presentation you give. So sometimes you're so much engrossed in the research, research එකට එල්ලිලා ඉන්නවා thesis එක ලියන්නේ. That's a bad idea. So if your research is not working out, do a bit of writing and then come back. But like I said, sometimes you have to change the title. ඒ කියන්නේ පටන් ගත්ත මාතෘකාව නෙමෙයි අන්තිමේදී තියෙන්නේ, and that is completely all right. It's reasonable, because you don't know, right? ඔය නිකන් මේ මොකද නිකන් පතල් හාරනවා වගේ වැඩක්, right? You don't know if there is gold here or not. නිකන් හාරගෙන යනවා. Any other questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I do have a question. So suppose that we are not engaging with the standard workflow of a research, and we are normally doing a kind of project. And during the ongoing project or during the workflow of the project, we realize is that, so beginning of the project, we do not have any intention about a research. So during the project, we have realized that, okay, so this is a very good idea. This may not have been already implemented. So we can conduct this, or we can continue this as a research, right? So that particular intention will be come up during the progress of the project. So So at that point of time, I have heard that, or some of the guys have advised me that, okay, whenever you have done with the project, please do a paper for that project and try to do a kind of publication for publication which reflects the idea of the research. But beginning of the project, I don't I may not have any clear understanding about doing a research for the title of my project. So is it good to do is it good to follow that particular procedure rather than doing everything from the beginning with the better intention of a research?
Okay. I mean, your question was quite long, so sorry. No, I understand. So there is no one way to do research. If I can answer very clearly that. So then you started off with a project, and later you find out, okay, this has some potential to go to a publication. Fine, may go along that process. And so, as I mentioned before, in order for your work to be considered as research, make sure you back it up with strong data and what other people have done, right? You still need to
Yes, sir.
do a literature review, right, when you write the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the points that I mentioned are anyway applicable, right, for your project that you're doing. So it's fine. Your project, you want to convert it into a research, by all means do it. But make sure, because when it comes for you to write a publication, you need to sort of present your arguments in the scientific manner, right? So for that, you will need to once again do the literature review.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so I have got another question from audience. So what are the special requirements for making a research to be published on journals?
I mean, I can talk about it, but it's just that for one thing is the findings has to be novel. So talk to your professor or supervisor and see, is this worthy of being published? And by all means, try for the conferences that take place in Sri Lanka as well. That's where I first started. In my first publication was at an IEEE conference held in the UCSC, or School of Computing. So I applied there, and once you get it there, it's pretty good. You have your name there, and it's online, and anyone can look it up. It's a pretty big deal. First basic thing is you need to have some good findings. So that's where the data and the experimentation part is important. But like I said, I can get the research proposal done, and later we'll talk about how to manage the rest.
Yeah, so we have another question. If we were to start our own research, how to find the relevant resource persons and funding?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question, right? It's not easy for anyone. So that's what I said. I know you have a good idea, it's great, but for me, it's all about managing resources. So, of course, check out your professor's research background, where they're coming from. And of course, find out from other faculties, other departments, whether this professor or lecturers can help you with that. Because sometimes you have a supervisor, you can ask the supervisor, hey, can I get another collaborator? Can I get another supervisor onto my team to give me more advice? And make sure you mention their names in your work as well, because they did help you. So getting expertise is like that. You can ask for help if you think people are suitable. Funding wise, like I said, it's good to manage with what you have, because the whole procedure of writing for grants and getting money is it's tough. It's not easy even for established professors to get money. So that's what I would say. Just try to come up with a low cost model.
Thank you, sir. I think you got the answer. So I think that's all. That's all about the questions. And sir, I have a small request. So if you have some other questions, is it okay with you to share a contact number or something to share with us?
Oh yeah, I mean you can check my I have a website, and in that there's a contact form, and if you just submit a contact, I can I can get it. But yeah, it's I think it's iqlabs.edu.lk. So if you search that, you'll most likely find a contact area. And I do check my emails, even though I'm busy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think that's all about the Q&A session.
All right. I guess I can
So
end my recording from.
yeah, sure, sir. So thank you so